This is the kettlebell. We've got a lot of exercises lined up for you guys, so let's get to it. I'm going to do a goblet squat. So Ryan is going to have the kettlebell in both hands, but he's going to lift the kettlebell up to where the handles are in his grip and his hands are off to the side of this grip. His thumbs are looped underneath to help hold the heavy kettlebell in his hands. Okay, so keeping the elbows down, he's going to squat down into a regular squat. So he's got a nice wide stance here. His feet are going to be turned out a little bit, slightly externally rotated, so he can get that and drop nice and deep into that squat and use his glutes, right? Legs, everything, lower body is slowly moving down, and he's using all of the strength in his glutes and quads to drive back up, right? And he's keeping his torso tall, the kettlebell's in close to the body to stay close to the center of gravity. And if he wanted to make it a little bit more challenging, all he would need to do is, as he comes up, he can also now press the kettlebell up, slightly change the movement a little bit, you make it a little bit more dynamic. If he needed to make it a little bit easier, he could modify it by just using slightly lighter kettlebell weight. Okay, let's talk about the single arm squat press. So Ryan is going to start with the kettlebell in his hands, but he's got to get it up onto his shoulder. So he's going to do a little bit of a clean catch there, as you can see, just a little bit of a flick of the wrist. Has the kettlebell resting on his shoulder right here. And he's going to try to keep his torso tall, shoulders back. He's got a nice wide squat stance here. Legs are a little bit externally rotated. He's going to start by driving his hips back a little bit and dropping into the squat. And on the way back up, he's going to create a lot of power and press it up as high as he can. He's trying to use this velocity that he's creating here through his hips to help assist with the shoulder press. What I don't want to see is Ryan stopping at the top and pausing before he presses it up, because what that does is it takes the velocity and the momentum out of the equation and forces you to use a lot more shoulder when really this is a full body movement. Okay, so we're going to do a renegade row with the kettlebell. It's a single arm renegade row. Typically you would have maybe dumbbells in either hand or both hands. In this case, we're going to use a kettlebell, so the range of motion is going to be slightly smaller. Ryan's going to go ahead and get into a push-up position with feet slightly wider than usual to create a little bit bigger base of support. It's going to allow him to help keep his hips stable as he does this row. He really wants to try to keep his entire body stable, not allowing it to twist as he does this row. Very, very challenging to stabilize with your core and your hips throughout this movement. Notice he lifts the elbow high slowly. This is a very slow, controlled movement because he's trying to utilize as much of his back as he can here, as he's also really utilizing his core to be able to hold this movement without letting his body shift much. Okay, Ryan's going to do a single arm bent over row with a kettlebell in his hand. So you can see he's got the kettlebell right now just in one of his hands, whichever he wants to use first. He's going to take a slightly wider than hip width stance here, and feet are just slightly externally rotated. The main thing here is Ryan's going to hinge at the hips. He's going to keep a very slight bend in his knees, but he really wants to make sure he has the posture in his back. Nice flat back, shoulders pulled back here, and you can see as he rows, he's leading with his elbow, bringing it all the way up towards the ceiling, and he turns his palm in a little bit. So you see that little bit of a twist as he rows. That helps him keep that kettlebell and arm in close to his body. Exhaling as he rows the kettlebell up and maintains great posture in his back the entire time. Okay, so we've got another challenging balance exercise. It's going to be a single leg bicep curl. So Ryan's going to have the kettlebell in one hand, the side that he's going to do the bicep curl on, and then his opposite leg is going to be lifted in the air. So it's very challenging for balance, like I said. So go ahead and bring that knee up, Ryan. Now, as soon as he brings that knee off the ground, he's shifting his body weight onto his other foot, left foot that's on the ground here, slight bend in the knee. He's got his shoulders pulled back. That's going to maintain that posture the entire time. His elbow's going to stay right next to his side. He's not going to let it leave his side as he curls. So go ahead, Ryan, give us a bicep curl, and you notice that he turns his palm up as he curls up, and then when he comes back down, he's going to go ahead and turn that palm in, right? So twist on the way up and twist it down and in on the way back down. Maintaining great posture, keeping the elbow right by his sides. Very challenging bicep curl combination balance exercise. All right, so next we have a stationary lunge. What Ryan's going to do is he's going to take a moderate step back, but what he's going to try to do when he steps back is keep most of his body weight on his front foot. So he's really going to reach with that toe, and he's going to keep his heel really high off the ground when that toe touches the ground back there. That's to ensure that he keeps his body weight forward on that front foot. Go ahead, Ryan, and step back into the lunge here. Now, you can see the kettlebells hanging off to the side. He's just going to keep his torso tall, shoulders back, chest up. As he drops down into the lunge, he doesn't let his knee touch the ground. He drives back up off the heel of his front foot, keeping the body weight on most of the body weight on the front leg driving off the heel so you can activate the glutes on the front leg and have the glutes do most of the work for this exercise. So you can see he's not stepping anymore after he's already stepped back into the lunge, and he's maintaining the constant work here on this leg in the front right now. So we're focusing on the left leg, doing most of the work, exhaling on the way up, using the glutes. Okay, now we're going to do a reverse lunge, and there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can choose to stay on one leg the entire time, or you can choose to alternate legs, but the kettlebell, however, will stay in one hand the entire time. So first thing first, Ryan's gonna make sure his shoulders are pulled back, right? He's got great posture here. He's going to extend one leg back, whichever one he wants to start with here, keeping his heel high, body weight stays on the front foot mostly. He's really trying to target the front leg doing most of the work with this exercise. So he drops down and steps forward out of the lunge, switches to the other leg, step back, drop into the lunge, step forward out of it, again using the front leg to do most of the work, trying not to let the knee touch the ground. It's okay if it does, but don't rest body weight on the ground. Just try to find a spot that's maybe just an inch or two above the ground. Exhaling on the way up, again focusing on that front leg doing most of the work. Okay, let's talk about the reverse lunge with a twist. Now, we're literally going to be twisting the torso on this exercise, but first what we have to do is get the kettlebell into the right position. So Ryan's gonna go ahead and put the kettlebell in both hands, bringing it up into kind of the goblet position here, right? He's got his elbows in close. He's gonna keep this kettlebell touching his chest the entire time. You don't wanna move it away from your body because that's gonna change your center of gravity, put some undue stress on your lower back. That's what we wanna try to avoid, okay? So we're really gonna try to use our core as we twist. And Ryan's gonna choose whatever leg he wants to step back here with first into the lunge position, right? And now, because he chose his right leg, he's now twisting over the forward leg. You always want to twist over whatever leg is forward. He's going to switch to the other leg now, and as he drops down, notice he waits till he gets to the bottom of the range of motion before he twists. He comes all the way back to the middle center before he steps up out of the lunge. And again, he's trying to keep most of his body weight on the front leg, on the heel of the front foot, trying to utilize the glutes on the front leg to do a majority of the work.